Me, Jennifer Lopez is like Benjamin Button. The older she gets, the younger she looks. She's wearing an olive. An actual olive. This watch was first introduced to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Rolex Day. For watches made out of solid rose gold, this watch is currently valued between $80,000 and $82,000. And to see this on Jennifer Lopez makes it just pure porn.
I just spoke to the CEO of Rolex last week, and I said, look, I'm getting calls from people who are trying to buy these standard watches that used to be in inventory all the time. He says, I have nothing. I said, what about the ones in the window? They're not real. They're actually locked mechanisms.
Vintage Rolexes, Daytonas, which I saw in this video. In this video, they showed a manual wound watch. So what's going on here, right? Second, what was the second point? Waterproof. Yeah, that's handy, but it's every watch on the planet is waterproof. And the other one was precision. This Timex is more precise than a Rolex. Something I absolutely do not understand. Rolex has discontinued this particular watch. F me, it's on
Chinese brands exposing the watch industry. Where is that? Actually, move.
Got you right here. This is a CF Rolex I got from Shenzhen for only 120 USD. And it still takes. Everything is perfect.
There have been a couple of videos floating around on Insta, TikTok, YouTube, telling the story of how everything Swiss made is actually made completely in China. You pay $4,400 for a Metas Tudor Black Bay monochrome. You pay almost $10,000 for a Rolex Submariner. And a Royal Oak Extra Thin, it costs like $36,000. Cheap is not a word that applies.
Jennifer Lopez was supposed to be making headlines for her flawless Milan gala look, a crystal drip dress, and a rare diamond-studded Rolex worth nearly $500,000. But within days, that glittering red carpet moment exploded into a luxury scandal that's now shaking the watch industry to its core. Because behind the sparkle, J.Lo discovered something no one expected. Her prized Swiss-made timepiece might not be Swiss at all. And now, the Queen of Glam isn't smiling for the cameras. She's demanding receipts, and she's ready to expose one of fashion's biggest secrets. Jennifer Lopez walked into Milan's most exclusive black tie gala like she owned the night. Flawless skin, a gown that caught every light in the room, and on her wrist, a rare diamond-studded Rolex rumored to be worth nearly $500,000. It was supposed to be a moment of pure fantasy, the kind of thing fashion magazines replay for years. But within days, that glittering red carpet flex had morphed into a luxury scandal so explosive, it's now rattling one of the most powerful industries on earth. Because here's the twist no one saw coming. The so-called Swiss-made masterpiece on J.Lo's wrist might not be Swiss at all. According to new whistleblower leaks, that same watch, and possibly others in her collection, may have rolled off production lines in a factory thousands of miles from Geneva, in Guangdong Province, China. And the allegations don't stop there. The claims threaten to blow open the polished doors of the entire luxury watch market, revealing an industry built on loopholes, selective truths, and marketing magic. If they're true, we're not just talking about a celebrity being duped. We're talking about the unraveling of a billion-dollar brand and the illusion it's sold to generations of buyers. And Jennifer Lopez, who built her empire on perfection, is suddenly finding herself at the center of a truth or consequences showdown that could change luxury forever. The night of the gala, Milan felt like the center of the fashion universe. Inside a sprawling historic villa lit by golden chandeliers and lined with couture gowns, Jennifer Lopez made her entrance. She was wrapped in a custom floor-length gown covered in thousands of Swarovski crystals, each one catching the flash of paparazzi cameras like falling stars. Every detail had been orchestrated for maximum impact. The soft waves in her hair, the diamond studs in her ears, and then the piece de resistance, a Rolex day date unlike anything the crowd had ever seen. It wasn't just a watch, it was a statement. Rose gold casing, diamond-encrusted bezel, and a face so rare it sent horology bloggers into a frenzy the second the first photos hit Instagram. Fashion editors called it the wrist equivalent of a Rolls-Royce Phantom. Watch collectors whispered that only a handful even existed in private hands. The price tag? Somewhere north of $450,000. In that moment, J.Lo wasn't just wearing luxury. She was luxury. The woman who had conquered music, film, business, and fashion was once again proving she could command a room with a single accessory. But as champagne glasses clinked and flashbulbs popped, no one, not even Jennifer herself, had the faintest idea that her most glamorous accessory of the night would soon become the evidence in a scandal powerful enough to send shockwaves through boardrooms in Switzerland, marketing departments in New York, and factory floors in Asia. In less than a week, the story would twist from red carpet envy to corporate reckoning, and Jennifer Lopez, the picture of composure under pressure, would transform from flawless icon to furious investigator, a woman with the influence, resources, and determination to pull back the curtain on a world that has fought for decades to keep its secrets buried. It started with a single post, buried deep in a Chinese luxury forum where collectors trade insider gossip, rare photos, and whispers from factory floors. The thread's title was blunt. Your Swiss Rolex may not be Swiss at all. Under it, grainy images appeared of what looked like Rolex components laid out on workbenches in Guangdong province. At first, it was easy to dismiss. The internet is full of fakes, after all. But this wasn't just another conspiracy rant. The user claimed to be a former subcontractor for one of Rolex's Asian suppliers, and they had receipts. Attached to the post were scans of internal shipping manifests listing Rolex parts leaving Chinese ports, invoices from third-party suppliers marked Geneva Final Assembly, and most damning of all, a spreadsheet linking specific serial numbers to specific manufacturing facilities. That's when the bombshell dropped. One of those serial numbers matched a watch seen on Jennifer Lopez's wrist at the Milan gala. The exact same reference number. Within hours, the thread exploded across Weibo, then leapt to Twitter and TikTok. Watch collectors started posting side-by-side photos of Gelo's gala watch and the leaked factory images. The bezel, the diamond pattern on the face, the placement of the date window. It was all identical. And as the post gained traction, whispers turned into accusations. If a watch worn by one of the most high-profile women in the world had never touched Swiss soil until its final inspection, what did that mean for everyone else's so-called Swiss luxury? Jennifer Lopez is not the type to let strangers on the internet dictate her narrative. Behind the scenes, she quietly mobilized her inner circle, lawyers, brand consultants, and a small network of private investigators with experience in luxury goods authentication. Their mission was simple: trace the journey of her Rolex from raw material to red carpet. It started discreetly. Requests for provenance documents were sent to Rolex through her legal team. Simultaneously, her investigators began contacting former employees and whistleblowers connected to the brand's global supply chain. In the beginning, most were hesitant to talk. Rolex is infamous for its secrecy and legal firepower. But money, anonymity, and Gelo's reputation as someone who doesn't back down eventually coaxed the first cracks in the wall of silence. Over weeks, a disturbing picture emerged. Several watches in Jennifer's personal collection, not just the Milan gala piece, appeared in internal production logs tied to subcontracted factories in Asia. These weren't black market counterfeits. They were legitimate Rolex models, registered and certified, but assembled in facilities that had nothing to do with Switzerland until the final polish or quality check. For a woman who built her career on authenticity and control over her brand, the revelation felt like a slap in the face. One source close to the investigation described her reaction in blunt terms. She was livid, not just at Rolex, but at the entire illusion. She kept saying, "If they'll do this to me, what are they doing to everybody else?" The deeper her team dug, the clearer the pattern became, and the more infuriating the truth. Under European trade law, a watch can legally carry the Swiss-made label if at least 60% of its manufacturing costs originate in Switzerland. Notice the word costs, not components. That means that high-value processes like final assembly, testing, or even luxury packaging done in Switzerland can outweigh the fact that the bulk of the parts were made elsewhere. So, if a company sources dials from China, cases from Thailand, and internal mechanisms from Vietnam, but ships them to Switzerland for the last 20% of the work, voila, it's legally Swiss-made. It's a loophole so wide you could drive a fleet of Ferraris through it, and it's been there for decades, hiding in plain sight. To the average buyer, Swiss-made means centuries-old craftsmanship, generations of watchmakers hunched over wooden benches in alpine workshops. In reality, it can mean a global supply chain that zigzags across continents before landing in a Swiss facility just long enough to qualify for the stamp. For Jennifer Lopez, it wasn't just disappointing, it was betrayal. She hadn't spent nearly $500,000 on marketing spin. She had paid for the heritage, the artistry, the promise that every tick of her watch was born from the hands of master horologists in Geneva. Instead, she was staring at proof that much of what she believed was luxury was actually logistics. And that was a truth she wasn't about to keep to herself. Jennifer Lopez is known for many things. Her music, her films, her relentless work ethic, but above all, her refusal to be played. Once the pieces of her private investigation fell into place, she didn't hesitate. Her lawyers drafted a formal, high-stakes demand letter to Rolex headquarters in Geneva. This wasn't about an apology or a refund. J.Lo wanted something no luxury brand had ever willingly provided: raw, unedited, start-to-finish video proof of how their watches are made. Every bolt, every dial, every hand that touched the product, and the exact location where it happened. The letter was brutal in its precision. It cited serial numbers from her own collection, cross-referenced with leaked production logs, and attached scan documents from whistleblowers. The most explosive? An internal memo allegedly sent by a regional production manager to Rolex executives. It read, "Complete final assembly in Guangzhou by Friday. Geneva will finalize compliance steps." To Jennifer and her team, those 10 words were the smoking gun. Confirmation that Swiss final assembly was little more than a compliance maneuver, a way to meet the 60% cost threshold without actually producing the watch in Switzerland. Her legal filing demanded that Rolex respond within 72 hours, warning that if they didn't, she would take the fight public. And if there's one thing the luxury world fears more than anything, it's a scandal with a celebrity who refuses to back down. Rolex didn't meet the deadline. Instead, they issued a carefully worded statement 3 days later, claiming they fully complied with all Swiss labeling laws and stood by the integrity of their supply chain. To the corporate world, it was a classic damage control move. To the public, it was an insult. Social media exploded. Hashtags like hashtag SwissScam, hashtag NoRolexGate, and hashtag J.Lo demands the truth trended globally. TikTok creators started breaking down the Swiss-made loophole in simple, furious terms, showing side-by-side images of J.Lo's watch and factory photos from Guangdong. Reddit turned into a hive of amateur investigators, with users analyzing every frame of gala footage for serial number matches. YouTubers posted expose videos with titles like "The Rolex Lie," "J.Lo just pulled back the curtain." Even celebrities began to distance themselves from the brand. Drake quietly deleted an Instagram carousel showcasing his Rolex collection. Hailey Bieber turned down a red carpet styling that included a diamond Daytona. Stylists whispered about an unspoken new rule: no Rolex without receipts. High-end watch forums reported private collectors quietly pulling their pieces from display, fearing they'd be seen as part of the scandal. Worse for Rolex, boutique watchmakers, brands too small to hide behind marketing spin, started taking shots. One Swiss micro-brand posted a now viral tweet: "We make our watches in-house. 100% Swiss hands. No loopholes. No excuses." And then came the moment that turned speculation into undeniable proof. Weeks after the story broke, a package of anonymously submitted videos landed in the inboxes of multiple investigative journalists and on J.Lo's legal team's desk. The source claimed to be a group of workers from a contracted Chinese factory that had been producing Rolex components for years. The footage was crystal clear. No grainy shadows, no ambiguity. Brightly lit assembly rooms lined with workbenches. Skilled hands setting diamond bezels into gold casings. Workers in blue lab coats inspecting Rolex-branded movements under magnifying lenses. Every part was engraved, serialized, and logged into databases that matched Rolex's official production records. One clip showed a nearly completed watch, identical to the one J.Lo wore in Milan, being wrapped, boxed, and labeled for shipment to Switzerland. A voice, distorted for anonymity, explained, 80% of the work is done here. In Switzerland, they check it, maybe add one small part, and it becomes Swiss-made. We were told to never speak about this. The internet went into meltdown. The videos spread across every platform within hours, racking up millions of views. TikTok duets showed side-by-side comparisons of the leaked footage and Rolex promotional ads. A stark, almost embarrassing contrast. Watch collectors posted reaction videos of themselves looking at their own Swiss pieces in disbelief. Rolex stayed silent. No news statement, no lawsuit against the leakers, no attempt to dispute the footage. And in the court of public opinion, silence was as good as an admission. The illusion of untouchable Swiss prestige had been shattered, and the person holding the hammer was Jennifer Lopez. By the time the leaked videos had done their viral damage, Jennifer Lopez knew she was holding more than a personal grievance. She was holding the detonator for an industry-wide reckoning. So instead of hiding behind NDAs and quiet settlements, she went on the offensive. 2 weeks later, she strode into a press conference at the Plaza Hotel in New York City, cameras flashing from every angle. The crowd wasn't just reporters. It was influencers, consumer rights advocates, and rival watch executives who wanted to see how far she would go. Dressed in a sharp white power suit with a single gold Rolex on her wrist, the very watch at the center of the scandal, she introduced a new initiative, Origin Verified. This, she said, holding the watch up for the cameras, isn't about me. This is about truth. If you're paying for luxury, you deserve to know where it came from. Every bolt, every stone, every hand that touched it. She explained the system. Blockchain tracking. Every product gets a digital passport from the moment raw materials are sourced, logging every step in a tamper-proof ledger. Third-party audits. Independent inspectors with no ties to the brand verify each stage of production, from assembly to packaging. Full public transparency. Buyers can scan a QR code and instantly see the item's full origin story, down to the name of the workshop that polished it. It was a direct threat to an industry that thrives on secrecy and marketing mystique. The reaction was immediate. Social media lit up with praise from everyday buyers and niche luxury bloggers who've been fighting for this kind of honesty for years. Competing brands started scrambling, some to join the pledge, others to brace for impact. Within 48 hours, 5 smaller Swiss watchmakers publicly committed to implementing Origin Verified. Gucci's watch division quietly scheduled a meeting with Lopez's team. Even more telling, 2 major luxury houses, not Rolex, sent private messages offering to fund the initiative in exchange for a head start on certification. In other words, they saw which way the wind was blowing, and they wanted to be on the right side of history. And Rolex? Still silent. But silence in this moment was more than damaging, it was deafening. In just a matter of weeks, Jennifer Lopez had gone from red carpet darling to the woman who cracked open one of the most tightly guarded illusions in the luxury world. What started as a single suspicious watch had spiraled into an industry-level reckoning. She didn't just protect her own name. She redefined what it means to wear luxury in the first place. It wasn't about sparkle under camera lights anymore. It was about knowing your sparkle wasn't hiding sweatshops, loopholes, or lies. Luxury brands had long believed their prestige was unshakable, that marketing could erase any inconvenient truth. J.Lo proved otherwise. She showed that in the age of viral leaks and digital receipts, the most valuable currency isn't gold, platinum, or diamonds. It's integrity. Her final line at that press conference became an instant quote on Instagram and Twitter, a warning and a dare rolled into one. The next time someone flashes a Rolex at you, ask yourself, could it survive a J.Lo investigation? The room erupted in applause. The internet turned it into a meme. And somewhere in Switzerland, a few boardrooms fell uncomfortably silent.